Well, hello there. Calling you from the Almaty rest day. It's Saturday, the 1st of June, and I am going off on a bit of a tour for 3 hours this morning with a few of the other ladies, and then a group of the men are joining us at lunch. We're going to go to a local restaurant called Sandak, which is Kazakh, apparently very nice food. So we're going to do a wine tasting on the tour as well, so that'll be fun. Yesterday was a very long day. We left at 10:45 to do the border crossing, and there was a lot of sitting around. It took us until 1 o'clock, or actually probably 1:15 before we cleared the Kazakh border. So there was a process of customs clearance on the way out of China. So I stayed with the car. Andrew went in with our luggage and did his passport and customs control, and then came back out again. I then had to have my passport checked, the car checked. They want to check the chassis and engine numbers, which conveniently we have on a plate inside the hood of the car, so that's really simple. I managed to fix the carburetor things. You'll see there's a video where I use some paper clips, but later one of the other drivers, Thomas of car one, he actually gave me some split pins to use instead. So we got through the Chinese border to then come up to the Kazakh border, and it was quite funny, really. So again, Andrew had to go in as the passenger, as they call them, and I stayed with the car, and so they had to have it come and inspect the car, and I had this a military person, army officer, customs officer, actually hop in the car in Andrew's seat, and he was on a family group chat with his family on video chat, and so he was showing them the inside of the car and everything, which was really funny. So we popped the bonnet, and let him show them the engine and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And then we went to another place and parked up, and the paperwork for the car was taken inside by the fixers. The fixer is Meda again. He was the fixer here last year, and he was last time in 2020 and 2019, and he was just so excellent. There was one time when I thought we were possibly being kidnapped, which we weren't, obviously, because we're still here today, and that would have been a very different story that you'd know about us, but Meta was just so calm, and just, yeah, I have to say, got us through. So pleased to have him here.
Photo bomb.
This is Faith. So she's coming with me. We're going to have a great time today.
Give Richard some water.
Okay.
He can have some water for the day.
Go on then. So then we drove to the first time check, which was some 40 kilometres past the border crossing, and then went on our journey. Now, sometimes it would be just nice to just get to the hotel. It was already, sort of 1:15 or so before we even got through the border. But no, we still had 350 kilometres of, and a test of dirt and broken pavement roads. And so, so we sort of drove for a time on the motorway, and then, or highway. It wasn't really motorway. It was it's very beautiful. Kazakhstan's gorgeous. So the mountains, and it was beautiful blue sky day with nice white fluffy clouds. And it's just so fascinating being here. And then we turned off onto a dirt track for a test called Canyon Run, which was, and so we did a regularity, which we didn't do too well on the first part, but we did quite well on the second part along the dirt track, and then we drove for another sort of 7 or 8 kilometres and ended up at this canyon experience that is quite, a bit of a tourist thing, but it was quite beautiful, and so I got some nice photos there, and they had decent coffee, so we had our first really good coffee of the rally, so that was exciting. And they actually have sleeping pods there, so that's quite, and when we come back I think it'd be quite nice to be able to stay and in the canyon, so once all the tourists have left and you've got the sunset and you've just got and waking up in that sort of environment, I think would be the perfect spot for a picnic. So then we hopped back in the car and we got off a perfectly good sealed road after a period of time, and again stunning views with the plain and the mountains, and we then went on to broken pavement, and that was very bumpy. I've taken some video to show you just how bumpy it is, and that was nearly 100 kilometres of it. It was quite tiring, but again the view was stunning, and there were vineyards, actually quite large vineyards as well, so that was really interesting. Again, it would have been nice to have been able to stop, but yeah, we're on rally. So then we finally end up back at the hotel, end up in Almaty, but of course we end up in the middle of rush hour, and so it took us half an hour to drive 2 kilometres to get to the hotel, and Eleanor was so close to overheating that we almost didn't make it. One more set of traffic lights and I think we would have been done. It's quite interesting. They're a lot different here. They're a lot more obedient with the traffic lights here than they are in China. And very, the minute they think the light's going to go red, they stop. Nobody pushes through. But then they push in changing lanes and stuff. So I had to in the end be a little bit rude, I felt, and not let anybody push in front of me, because I literally, I would have caused a very different problem if we'd had to stop because we'd overheated. So I was, and the breakfast had been awful, the lunch was useless, and I've basically been existing on fruit for the last few days, and so that's all I'd had to eat all day, and I was hungry and fractious by the time I got to the hotel. And also One NZ will totally let me down on my phone. I'm not happy about that at all, but anyway, I was so angry with that, and so got to the room and showered and did my hair. Andrew made sure that I had the right sort of adapter to do my hair, and then we went down and I had an excellent gin and tonic. I mean, it was only Bombay Sapphire gin, but they had really good tonic, and that makes all the difference. You go to some of these places, and you get them in New Zealand as well, where they've got great gins, but then they fill it with a gun from the Schweppes gun thing in the bar and put horribly sweet tonic water on top of it. So anyway, so it was a great gin and tonic, and then a really fabulous meal. The dinner, the buffet here was amazing, and it was just great to have food where it was sport for choice in terms of what we might want to eat. And then at 9:30, which of course was sort of, I think, 12:30 in China, it was time to go to back to our room. Andrew fell asleep almost straight away, but I did some work downloading and putting clips up onto YouTube. And then, of course, we woke at 4 o'clock this morning. So never mind. It's one of those things. It just means it feels like you get a lot to do. So that's been our day. And this morning we had to do some stuff to do with the border crossing at Baku and things with the cars. So there's just a bit of administrative paperwork to do with that. It was nice and easy, and had an amazing breakfast: baked beans and toast and butter and fruit and orange juice that wasn't cordial and decent coffee and nice eggs and just everything that your heart and I didn't get to it, but they were nice. It looked like the cheeses were really good as well, so definitely going to have to get into some of that. So anyway, that's my update for now. There'll be lots of little updates between now and then on the on my tour of the day.